How is it going, everybody? You're watching Then About Tech, and Apple has finally released its latest update to iOS 18, iOS 18.2. Finally, we were expecting iOS 18.2 for such a long time, and it's finally here, one of the biggest and most anticipated updates to iOS 18. Full of new features, up to 50 new features. It's amazing. Let's talk about everything new in iOS 18.2, including, of course, all of the new features, changes, bug fixes, security updates. We're going to talk about battery performance and everything you want to know. Let's go ahead and get started. But before I move on, I'd like to talk about one of my favorites all-in-one iPhone managers, and that's of course Wondershare Dr.Fone. I'm pretty sure you're having issues with your iPhone after updating to iOS 18, right? A lot of people are having them, and some of the most common issues are these ones right here. So sometimes your notifications are not working, your volume, your haptics, your flashlight, but sometimes it gets even worse, like you're having a black screen, overheating, a boot loop. So some of those issues are really a big deal, and of course you can use Wondershare Dr.Fone to help you out. One of my coolest features of Dr.Fone is for sure system repair. If you click here, take a look at what it can do. It has a standard mode which can help you fix over 20 iOS issues, and this is great with iOS 18, and keep in mind you won't lose any of your data right here, but you also have an advanced mode which will in fact erase all your data, but it'll actually fix anything. So it could be your last resort. Of course, Dr.Fone can do much more than just fix iOS issues, like for example, data recovery. So if you lost or deleted something, it can help you out recover that. Phone transfer, data eraser, password manager. Of course, it can help you even transfer WhatsApp if you're switching phones. It's incredible. And it can even give you a full diagnostics. Take a look at this verification report where you can see every single part of your iPhone and check if it's original and authentic or if it's being replaced. Go ahead and take a look at the first link in the description and get Wondershare Dr.Fone right now. I have a special offer just for you right here in this very first link. Go ahead, get it now. You'll love it. Now, let's move on with the video. And of course, we have to start talking about all of the Apple Intelligence related new features because there are a ton of stuff regarding Apple Intelligence. But since I know not everyone is interested in Apple Intelligence, maybe your iPhone is not compatible with Apple Intelligence, I decided to create chapters on this video. So if you hover your mouse or move your finger through right here, the scrubber, you can go ahead and get to the point you're interested in, okay? So let's get started. Before I show you everything new about Apple Intelligence in iOS 18.2, make sure to enable Apple Intelligence if you haven't already. So open up your settings, scroll down, tap on Apple Intelligence and Siri and enable it. And on top of that, make sure to enable image creation. You will need to have everything on in order to have access to what I'm gonna show you right now. If you just can't enable Apple Intelligence on your iPhone, even if you have an iPhone 15 Pro and up, it has to do with your language and region, and I do recommend that you take a look at this card right here, link in the description, where I show you how to enable Apple Intelligence. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, okay? I'm in Brazil, for example, and I'm using it. And the first thing I want to talk about actually has to do with the image playground. It's finally available in iOS 18.2 for the iPhones compatible with Apple Intelligence. And the way the image playground works is so cool. So let me go ahead and create a brand new example right here. And the way this is gonna work is you can either say something, type something, or you can add an image and then play with it. It's an image playground. So let me go ahead here and select an image. So I'm gonna choose a photo, and I'm gonna choose a photo of myself. This one is pretty good, so let's select this image right here, and then it's gonna transform this photo of myself into this cartoonish, very fun Apple Intelligence image playground image. Take a look at this. So as you can see, we have quite a lot of different possibilities here, and if you ask me, I think it does look like myself, doesn't it? It's incredible. But of course, it's not just turning your images, your photos into a cartoon. No, you can do so much more. So you can tap here on show more, as you can see, and then you can choose a theme to put on top of your image. For example, an adventure theme. So it's gonna use my base image plus an adventure theme, and then that's me in the wild. So take a look at this. How cool is that? And of course, you can add more themes on top of it. So maybe you want to go ahead and add a fantasy theme. So it's adventure, fantasy, and of course the base image on top as well. So then castles and so on, as you can see, and it's pretty much endless. You can get costumes, you can get accessories, you can go to places. Take a look at this. Let's go to space, for example. And we're just adding on top, as you can see. So it's adventure, it's fantasy, it's space, and of course my base image of myself. This is so nice. Of course, as I said, you can go ahead here and describe anything that you want, and the image playground will actually create an image based on description. Let me tell you what I mean. So I'm back here at the home page of my image playground, and then I'm gonna actually describe the image. So let's say I'm gonna put big yellow building. Like, let's see how that's gonna go. So big yellow building. So just a random description, and then it's gonna create it, as you can see. And of course, I can go ahead here and play with it and use the same themes and suggestions and so on, and interact with it. Of course, I don't know if you noticed, but Image Playground will never create a realistic image. So if you go ahead and tap on plus right here, you have two styles. So you have animation or illustration, and it's always gonna be one of those possibilities. So as if it's a drawing, right? Illustration, or as if it's like a 3D animation, but you can't get a realistic image, not from your descriptions, not from your own photos, as I showed you before. No, never realistic, always this cartoonish style, and that's because of privacy, just to make sure people don't use this for the wrong reasons. Okay, so that's Image Playground, and of course, Image Playground is also inside some apps, so you don't necessarily need to use the app right here to create those images and manipulate images as a whole. You can go ahead here, for example, and open up your Messages app, as you can see right here, and you can use Image Playground right here. You can tap on the plus, as you can see, and then swipe up a bit, and then you have here Image Playground, and then you get the same interface right here inside the Messages app. So you don't need to exit the application and come back to Messages if you want to play with your Image Playground while talking to someone. So it's the same interface. This is very cool. And while we're here in the Messages app, of course, we have to talk about the second new feature related to iOS 18.2 that has to do with Apple Intelligence. And that's, of course, if you tap here on your emoji, that's your Genmoji. So this teeny tiny icon right here is a so cool feature. Let's tap on it, and as you can see here, we got Genmoji, and it works kind of similarly to the Image Playground, but the difference is we're creating emoji. So it's the same story. You can describe something, and then it'll create an image, but this time it'll create emoji. So it's specifically for emoji. So let's give the exact same example we were talking before. So a yellow building. So let's go for yellow building. Go ahead here and then tap on done, as you can see, and then it's gonna start loading. And as you can see, in just a couple seconds, you're gonna see a yellow building. Of course, this doesn't exist as an emoji. It's creating right now, and it's custom. So this is so nice. You can tap on it, tap on add, and then it's gonna create here your emoji, and you can send as your typical emoji. Of course, you can react just like any other emoji. This is so cool. I'm getting here the same message back because I'm talking to myself, but naturally when you're using this, talking to somebody else, it's just gonna be sent once, okay? Let me give you another example of Genmoji that I really like. It's steak and fry. So if you're out having dinner and somebody asks you what you're eating, you can say steak with fries, and you can create this so cool emoji. Take a look at this, it's perfect. exactly what you're eating. It looks so nice to have this possibility, this ability to actually create any emoji that represents exactly what you mean. And as you can see right here, it already comes right here down below to your frequently used emojis, so you can use it wherever you want. So you are creating emoji on the fly. And just like the image playground that you can use on other apps, the same goes here for the Genmoji. You can use Genmoji anywhere on your iPhone as long as you have a keyboard. So I'm here on the Notes app, I tap here on emoji, and I have here the Genmoji, so the exact same thing. So as long as you have a keyboard, you can use the Genmoji on your iPhone anywhere. Another awesome thing about iOS 18.2 is that ChatGPT is finally integrated to Siri. So if you go ahead and use the new Siri, it's gonna work just like before. So if you ask something, it's gonna go ahead and reply back to you. But the thing is, if it's something that it can't do, if it's a prompt that Siri doesn't understand or just can't give you an answer, it's gonna ask you if it can use ChatGPT. Let me show you. So first, a very simple question. What's the NFL game tonight? And then of course, we've got here Packers versus Lions, Thursday night football today, perfect. So as you can see, it's Siri, so normal, typical answer. But if I say something more complicated, can you help me plan a 2-week-long trip to Brazil? And then, as you can see, I'll need to ask ChatGPT. So if you tap on Use ChatGPT, it's working with ChatGPT, as you can see right here, and then it's gonna give me the answer. So this is so cool because since it's something that Siri can't do, right here, we've got ChatGPT. As you can see, chat right here on the bottom. Sure, Brazil is a vibrant country, and then it's gonna say some cities and so on. And right here, we've got everything that we need. So as you can see, and this is the way it's gonna work now. If Apple Intelligence can handle it, it's gonna do it like on device, and it's gonna be seamless. But if Apple Intelligence or Siri can't handle it, it's gonna tell you or make it very clear that it's gonna use ChatGPT. So ask you if it can use ChatGPT. Naturally, because with ChatGPT, it's gonna need to have internet connection, and it's gonna need to send the prompt to OpenAI server and get the reply back. Okay, so that's how it works. And as I said, ChatGPT is not only integrated into Siri, but also in your writing tools as well. So let's say I have a text here and I want some help. So I can go ahead and select the whole thing, and then I can go ahead and tap here on Apple Intelligence, as you can see. And then we've got here our writing tools, just like we got in iOS 18.1. But the thing is, now the writing tools are a little bit better. So you can describe your change. So you can go ahead here and not only have those fixed options, like to make it more friendly, professional, concise. No. You can actually ask Apple Intelligence something specific. So for example, make this text more smart, like as if I'm a super smart guy. So you can go ahead here and use that option. But as I said, ChatGPT is also here, and it's right here down below. So if I tap here on Compose, as you can see, that's ChatGPT. So as you can see, Compose with ChatGPT is very clear. We have the icon and all that. So describe what you would like to write, and ChatGPT will create. So you can go ahead and either edit this text or create something else. So you can go ahead here and say, make it clearer. So you can go ahead and make it clearer. So then it's gonna go ahead and edit, as you can see, this text, and then make it clearer, as you can see. But of course, not only edit your text, but also compose. So you can go ahead and say, hey, chat, help me create something new, help me create a script for a new YouTube video. So your typical chat, you can use it right here inside the writing tool. So you have ChatGPT embedded right here in iOS. So this is very nice. And the best part is you don't need a subscription. You don't need to log in. You don't need to pay for anything. So ChatGPT is already right here completely free. But if you go ahead and open up your settings and go to Apple Intelligence and Siri and scroll a bit down and go to ChatGPT, if you have an account, So if you have a paid account with more features and more benefits, you can go ahead and sign in. As you can see, I'm not even signed in, but if you want to, you can sign in, and then you have all those extra features if you pay for ChatGPT. So it's nice. Now let's talk about Apple Intelligence's final new feature in iOS 18.2, which has to do with your Notes app, and it's called Image Wand. Take a look at this. So if I go ahead here, tap on plus, tap on a drawing, and I go ahead here and draw normally as I would on my Notes app. Let's say I want to make a house, very pretty house, as you can see, window and door, right? And then I go ahead here and tap on the image wand, and if I circle it, take a look at this. It's gonna say, can you help me describe what's this image? So I'm gonna say house. I'm just gonna say house, just like that, and I'm gonna send. And as you can see, it's gonna pick my drawing right here, and it's a house, and it's gonna create a pretty much perfect house based on my drawing. Take a look at this. It's the exact same thing. Let me give you another example. I'm gonna draw now a car. Yep, there we go. Circle for one wheel, another wheel, and there we go. So let's go for the image wand. Circle it up. I'm gonna say car just to help it out. Send. As you can see, it's gonna get my image, it knows it's a car, and then it's gonna create a very cool little car based on my image. So super squared up, like teeny tiny back, teeny tiny front, big wheels, squared. So pretty much perfect based on what I'm drawing. And it's gonna work actually the exact same way for handwritten text. So if you handwrite something, this is better on the iPad, of course, or if you just type something and then use the image wand and circle it and make it create an image out of it. So it can create an image out of a drawing, out of handwritten text, and out of normal text that you type in right here, always using the new image wand feature. This is so cool. Now, let me get my Boston Red Sox cap, and let me go ahead and show you something new. And this feature right here, guys, is exclusive to the iPhone 16 series because it needs the camera control button. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna tap and you're gonna press and hold, okay? Press and hold and keep holding. You got the Apple Intelligence animation as you just saw, right? And then it's gonna actually image search whatever you have right in front of you. Not only image search, but also tell you what it is, okay? So you have two possibilities. You have search, which actually is gonna talk to Google, like Google reverse search, right? And then ask, which is gonna use Apple Intelligence and ChatGPT. So let me go ahead here and use the ask possibility. It's gonna analyze, asking ChatGPT, as you can see right here. And then it's gonna say, this is a baseball cap featuring the Boston Red Sox logo, and so on. And of course, you can go ahead and keep talking to ChatGPT and keep this conversation, okay? And the other possibility is to use the search button, and now it's searching with Google, as I mentioned. And then it's gonna just image search, and then you can go ahead here and even buy it. It's gonna show you Google results, so you can go ahead and, as for example, Boston Red Sox from New Era, $50, you can tap on it and buy it if you want to. So it's just a very, very convenient way, even though it's not groundbreaking, but it's just convenient to have the possibility to just press a button and then check anything that's on your environment. I like this feature. Now let's talk about new features that are not related to Apple Intelligence. First, let's talk about the new Mail app. It's not completely new, don't get me wrong, but it has some new awesome features. Out of the bat, you can see that you have new categories. So we have the primary category, so it's pretty much everything, right? That's important. You have here transactions, so everything related to shopping and so on. You have here updates, so it's more like notifications and newsletters and so on. You have here promotions, and that's generally what we don't want to see, right? And if you go all the way to the side, you get here all mail, so which is going to show you everything. But of course, this categorization is so nice because you can go ahead and tap here on the three dots and you can choose how you want to see it. So categories or list, so you can get rid of the categories completely. You have here the possibility to tap on it once again and check about without categories, so just get more information. So as I said, primary, transactions, updates, promotion, and so on, if you want to like know exactly what everything is. And of course, you can choose here to show priority. So based on Apple Intelligence, it's actually gonna put to the top, move to the top, the most important mail that Apple Intelligence thinks. And it generally works quite well. Of course, it's still in the beginning. And another cool thing is if you go ahead here for transactions, for example, you can also choose to group by sender. So if you receive a ton of emails by the same sender, it's gonna go ahead here and group. So for example, 2 different emails, as you can see, 2 different emails from Google, PayPal, and so on. So it's gonna group, so you can tap on it and then just see everything from that sender. So this is very, very nice. I like the way they implemented this. It's making the Mail app smarter. Now let's talk about the controversial Photos app. And even though Apple made quite a few changes, still I don't like it, but let's gonna talk about them. So first, let's talk about video. So we have this new scrubber right here, and we have the possibility here to move and scrub frame by frame, which before just wasn't possible. So we have a better scrubber, which has better precision. I like this new scrubber, but again, this is not the problem of the Photos app. It's never been. It's the whole layout, but we're gonna talk about that in a second. On top of that, still talking about video, if we go ahead here and open up our settings and go to Photos, so bear with me here. So if you go ahead here and go to Photos, and then let it load, tap on it, and then if we scroll down, we have this new possibility to loop video. So by default, if you're watching a video in your photo gallery, in your photo library, when it's done, it's gonna come back to the end, and then when it's done, it's gonna come back to the end. You can disable this, okay? So you can disable loop video. So if you come back here, and let's say you wanna play this video, it's just 1 second. And then when it's done, it's done. It's not gonna be in loop. So I think this is a good implementation. On the very first page of our photos, if you scroll down just a bit, you have here your pin collections. If you tap on it, for example, we have here recently saved. Now we have new navigation possibilities. So if you swipe to the right, you go to the next collection. And if you swipe to the left, you come back, and then you can just swipe and come back all the way to your photos. I don't like this. I don't like this collections thing. I don't like the way this is organized. I don't like the Photos app. If you open it up, it just looks like a huge mess. You have your photos and videos here, your recent days, you have here people and pets and so on, collections, memories. Of course, you can customize that, you can change that and change the order right down below. I'm gonna show you. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can customize and reorder, as you can see, but you can't change the fact that it's still disorganized. It's still messy. You just can change the order, but the layout and everything else is the same, and I absolutely hate it. And I know pretty much everyone else does as well. Now, let's continue because we have another thing that's new, and is the fact that right here at the bottom as well, under utilities, you now have favorites. So favorites used to be only in your pinned collections right there at the top, as I showed you before. Now it's there, and also here under utilities. Yeah, it's still bad. Now let's talk about Safari. So if you open up Safari and you open up a new tab, so tap here on plus, by default you see something like this, completely blank. But now if you scroll all the way down and go to edit, you have new background images. So you can go ahead here and choose an image, for example this one, and then let it load. It takes a while, and as you close, you're gonna see the new wallpaper for your Safari homepage. And this is kind of cool. You can also tap on edit and choose any background image based on your images as well. You can put a photo of yourself, your pet, your family, or anything that you wish. If we exit Safari and open up our settings, and then come back here and go to Safari, but inside our settings, right? So Safari, tap on it. So let's talk about our Safari settings. And we scroll down, you can see that now we have this possibility right here under history and website data. So now we can import or export our history. So let's say, for example, that you use another device or another browser and you like your history, your searches, and so on. You can go ahead and import to this iPhone, or maybe the other way around. You can export to any of your other devices. So this is nice. And last but not least, regarding Safari, if you go ahead and download anything in Safari, so let me tap on this video right here and let me tap on download. As you can see, let me proceed anyway, very small. And as you can see, it's gonna start the download process right here, right? But if you exit Safari, you can see it in the dynamic island. So this is nice. The fact that you can take a look and follow your downloads and you don't have to be right there inside Safari checking it. So very, very cool. And of course you can cancel it if you want it as well. Now let's talk about voice memos. So if I go ahead here and look for memo, so if you use this, you record meetings, classes, and so on. Now, if you are especially a musician, you can go ahead and add a second track of audio on top of your recording. Let me show you how it works. So I'm going to start recording, and this is a test. I'm just recording, so on, and that's it. And then I can stop it, right? It's going to be right here. If I tap on the recording, and I can go ahead here and tap on this little plus, as you can see. And then if I tap here on record, I can go ahead and record on top. So as you can see, the red one is the one I'm talking right now. And then it's gonna keep going, of course. I can go ahead here and tap on done, and I can save recording. And then as you can see, it's gonna have this new icon with like one on top of the other. And as you tap on it and plays, let me see if you can pick it up. It's gonna be a whole mess, this audio. I can go ahead, this is a test, I'm just recording. So let's see the red. Yeah, you got it, right? Like it's me talking on top of myself. So that's it. So very nice. If you may find it useful if you are recording something like a guitar and then you want to sing on top. This may be very, very nice for amateur musicians. Now let's go ahead and open up the music app, but this in theory would work as well in the Apple TV app. And is the fact that now you can search with natural language. We've talked about this on previous software updates, and is the fact that in theory you could search for something like you wouldn't have to search for the title specific of what you're looking for. For example, if you want to look for The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, right? Naturally you would say Dark Side of the Moon and then you'd find it. But the thing is, with natural language, you would in theory be able to say, can you show me that album from that British rock band that has like a moon with a black background, you know, when you like naturally. So you could search like via your microphone using your voice or typing it in, and then it will understand and give you the result. Same thing for Apple TV. So you could say, can you help me find that movie from the 80s that actor was on? So in theory, it would understand, but I'm always saying this in theory, because it doesn't work. I've tried on Apple Music, I've tried on Apple TV, and it just doesn't understand natural language. You have to search exactly what you're looking for, just like before. Now let's open up the podcast app, and if we tap here on library, and then we go ahead and go to categories, right now we have category suggestions here in the podcast app. So as you tap on a category, it's gonna not only show your shows, what you listen to, but also top shows and so on, right, on that category. But if you go ahead and manage, as you can see, you can go ahead here and take a look that now we have suggested categories. So you have here technology, tech news, business news, and so on. So podcast is a little bit smarter to recommend you like podcasts and shows that it thinks you're gonna like based on your categories. Now, if we open up the news app, and specifically the News Plus, and in order for you to get this feature, you actually have to be an Apple News Plus subscriber, which I'm not, as you can see. Now, right here in Apple News Plus, you have Sudoku in 3 different levels of difficulty. So you have the little game Sudoku right here, because as you know, maybe you don't know if you're too young, you used to have Sudoku in newspapers. So that's why they're mimicking this and giving you the Sudoku game in the news app. So it's a very nice throwback. Now let's talk about AirPods Pro, more specifically AirPods Pro 2. These are AirPods Pro 1s, but I just can't find my AirPods Pro 2. So I'm gonna give you the information anyway. So now we have support for the hearing test feature on AirPods Pro 2 in Cyprus Czechia, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Romania, Spain, United Arab Nations, and United Kingdom. So specifically the feature, the hearing test feature, okay, available now in those countries, which they weren't before. And same thing now for the hearing aid feature, again for the AirPods Pro 2, again available now in the United Arab Emirates. If you like your stocks, now we have pre-market price quotes in stocks that let you actually track NASDAQ and NYSE tickets prior to market open. So it makes it a little bit more useful if you like to use the stocks app. And now let's talk about two small bug fixes, but important ones. First one has to do with your photos. So before iOS 18.2, sometimes when you took a photo, it would take a while for it to appear right here in your photo library, the photo grid. As you can see now, it's instant. Before, sometimes it used to take a while. I was having this bug actually. And the other one is also related to the camera app, but more specifically to night mode. You know night mode? When you have the little moon right here, when it's very dark, you take a photo and sometimes it takes 1, 2, 3 or more seconds to actually capture that photo. That's right, iPhone 16 Pro and Pro Max, so this guy right here, some of them were having this issue where in dark mode, the photos would appear degraded. So like bad quality photos. So if you have an iPhone 16 Pro and your night photos were pretty bad, it's probably because of this fix now in iOS 18.2. And that's pretty much it regarding new features, changes, and bug fixes. As I said, a pretty huge software update. And if you ask me about battery and performance, I'm loving it. I've been using iOS 18.2 for the past weeks. So beta 1, beta 2, beta 3, beta 4, and now the final version. And it's been great. Battery life is amazing. Of course, as you can see, my battery is pretty much dying right here. But I've been using this phone like a lot today. I'm getting 9+ hours of screen on time every single day. It's great performance as well. We have some very teeny tiny bugs here and there, especially on some third-party apps. But of course, it's still normal. We have to wait for the developers to actually fix those issues. But as a whole, my experience has been great with iOS 18.2. So if you are already in iOS 18, 18.1, 18.1.1, of course, my recommendation is for you to update right now to iOS 18.2. And if you are holding on to iOS 17, if you have an older device and you're still holding on, stay there. If iOS 17 is great for you, keep in iOS 17, update to the latest version of iOS 17, which was released alongside 18.2, and you're good to go, okay? So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next videos, guys.